Well, good morning. Happy Wednesday. It is trash day, and it is a beautiful day. What I mean by trash, it's not a trashy day. It's the day that I take out my trash. And I only mention that because I did get my trash out today. I'm always happy when that happens. Sometimes I forget. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. It's a beautiful day outside. It was kind of overcast yesterday, but I don't think we're going to get any rain. We're probably done with any. Well, you never know. You just really never know. I mean, one year, didn't it snow early April? I can't remember. Or it's been raining. Who knows? Anyway, it's a beautiful day out, 61 degrees. Sun is shining. I think the high today is 83, and then tomorrow the high is 80. So we got a little bit of a cold front coming in, and who knows what's going to happen. I was out, a couple days ago, and there was big, huge, heavy clouds on the north side of the Rincon Peak, but they never made it over. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Hope you're having a great day. It is the 22nd of April. We have no birthdays today, so I'm going to close that up. We do have some later on. We'll go ahead and get into our study. If you remember last episode, we finished off at verse 35. This is the blessings and the curses that Moses is sharing in his third discourse, his third sermon. And he's talking about how blessings will be on Mount Gerizim and the curses will come from Mount Ebal. And he's talking about what the blessings and the curses are if Israel follows God's law. And we already went through the blessings, and then we went through the cursings, and the cursings were pretty much the mere opposite of the blessings. But now we're getting to some other curses, and so we left off at verse 35. Let's just start reading at verse 36. The Lord will drive you and the king set over you to a nation unknown to you or your ancestors. There you will worship other gods, gods of wood and stone. You'll become a thing of horror, a byword, and an object of ridicule among all the peoples where the Lord will drive you. So if you're not following God's law, the things do not go well. God will drive you and your king out to another nation, and there they worship gods of wood and stone. These are carved images that people put in their homes, and they worship them. Or it could be at the Ashtaroth, on the Ashtaroth pole, or at the altars, kind of a grotto or something like that. Anywhere where people gather together to worship the false gods, that's a really sad commentary when you think about it, that if you do not follow my commands, it'll be very easy for you to fall away from worshiping me and worshiping other gods. You'll become a byword. That is just crazy. Byword, an object of ridicule among all the peoples. I mean, it really is one or the other, isn't it? If you follow God's law, you become a great nation. People fear you. You know that God is with you. Everybody's healthy. There's no boils, no diseases. There's food. Everybody can manage their life because they know they're the people of God. And then the other nations take notice of that. But if not, then you're a ridicule. I mean, who's your God? Why do you believe your God is better than our God? That's basically what will happen. Verse 39. You will plant vineyards and cultivate them, but you will not drink the wine or gather the grapes, because worms will eat them. You will have olive trees throughout your country, but you will not use the oil, because the olives will drop off. You will have sons and daughters, but you will not keep them, because they will go into captivity. Swarms of locusts will take over all your trees and the crops of your land. So even your harvest won't go well. Your children will be taken off into captivity. Don't mess with God is basically the bottom line. 43. The foreigners who reside among you will rise above you higher and higher, but you will sink lower and lower. They will lend to you, but you will not lend to them. They will be the head, but you will be the tail. So foreigners, basically the foreigners in your land will take over your land. And when foreigners take over your land, then they bring their own gods and they bring their own customs and they bring their own things. And they don't bring God's law. They bring their own law, if you will. And God said, no, this is not what I want you to do. This will happen if you don't follow my God. This will happen if you don't follow my law. Verse 45, all these curses will come on you. They will pursue you and overtake you until you are destroyed, because you did not obey the Lord your God and observe the commands and decrees he gave you. They will be a sign and a wonder to you and your descendants forever, because you did not serve the Lord your God joyfully and gladly in the time of prosperity. Therefore, in hunger and thirst, in nakedness and dire poverty, you will serve the enemies the Lord sends against you. He will put an iron yoke on your neck until he has destroyed you. So all these curses that happen are a sign and a wonder. I mean, it sounds like, wonders we typically think as, good things. You walk and look over the Grand Canyon, it's just wonderful. But this wonder here is like an awe. There will be signs and awe to you. You'll be shocked by how much God will give you this sign, that you will be in poverty and destruction, and your descendants will not serve God, and there will not be any gladness or joy in the land. You'll live in nakedness, you'll live in poverty, you'll live in hunger, you'll live in thirst. All of these things will come upon you because you do not follow my law. You would think something like this, that Israel's like, man, we better make sure we follow God's law. We don't want this. Yeah, right. Do you do that? Do you follow God's law because you're afraid of what might happen in your life if you don't follow God's law? Or you're like, yeah, if things fall apart, I'm okay. I've got this program, or I've got that person, or I've got whatever it is that you can rely on over God. It'll all work out. I can go to I can do all sorts of things if my life falls apart. Well, wouldn't it be better if your life didn't fall apart? I mean, isn't that when you learn the way of life, right? Jesus came, he taught his disciples the way of life. Be gentle, be peaceable, love your enemies. All the things that God said, do these things, and that's loving God and loving your neighbor. And when you do that, your life will go well for you. So why not do them? Because it's too hard. I don't like it. It's just kind of a pain, all these things that Jesus modeled for me, they're just too difficult. So I'm going to do it my own way. And how does that work out for you? So you learn the 12 disciples, they learned from Jesus. And then after Jesus left, they lived that way and had very deeply fulfilling lives. Did the authorities destroy them? Yes. But as far as their life goes, they were kingdom, right? They were kingdom dwellers. They dwelled in the kingdom on this earth, and they're dwelling in the kingdom now in eternity. And their life is incredible. It was incredible on this earth, and it's incredible in heaven. All right. Verse 49. The Lord will bring a nation against you from far away, from the ends of the earth, like an eagle swooping down, a nation whose language you will not understand, a fierce-looking nation without respect for the old or pity for the young. They will devour the young of your livestock and the crops of your land until you're destroyed. They will leave you no grain, no wine or olive oil, nor any calves of your herds or lambs of your flocks until you are ruined. They will lay siege to all the cities throughout your land until the high fortified walls in which you trust fall down. They will besiege all the cities throughout the land and the Lord your God is giving you. This is enemies from far away. So the Assyrians conquered the northern kingdom and the Babylonians conquered the southern kingdom. They were from far away. Fierce looking nations swooped down, took all the things that they could, destroyed all the things that they could, and your flocks were ruined, your cities were ruined. I mean, yeah, I mean, who wants that? How many generations does it take? I'm always fascinated. Like David was strong. David followed God. David's heart was with God. And then in a couple kings later, which is, we have to remember that some of these kings lived for a long time. Our rulers live for 4 to 8 years. Our king, if you will, our president, he didn't want to be called. George Washington didn't want to be called king. He wanted to be called. He had to come up with something else. He called it president, like the president of a corporation, president of the United States. So he acts in power. He is 1/3 of a king. Let me put it that way. All the things that are given to the king are all the 3 branches of government, right? The executive branch, the judicial branch, the legislative branch. We divided it up so that there would not be a king. There'd be a sundry assignment of powers and duties. But the king only lasts, the president only lasts 8 years. Congress only lasts 2 years, but some people have been in Congress for decades. And same thing with senators. And so they end up being kind of quasi-kings, but there's more of them, so they have to agree on anything. So it does 2 things. One is it slows down things and makes it more difficult to change laws. But secondly, it's really, really slows down things. I mean, it protects, I guess, but it slows it down. I think they say that the best form of leadership is a benevolent king, right? But none of them ever turn out benevolent. Maybe David, but David wasn't that benevolent. He did some pretty evil looking things. Yeah, you will not go well if you don't obey my law. Verse 53. Because the suffering of your enemy will inflict on you, because of the suffering your enemy will inflict on you during the siege, you'll eat the fruit of the womb, the flesh of the sons and daughters of the Lord your God has given you. That's cannibalism. That's I hope that's figurative, but that's just terrible. That you will be so hungry and so devoid of things that you'd be willing to eat the flesh of your young womb children, your fetuses, and the fruit of the womb would be they came out of the womb. Yeah, and so this is infants and sons and daughters. I mean that is a stark, vivid picture of horribleness. That's just horrible. Yeah. There's a popular movie out today called what's it called? Hail Mary, the Project Hail Mary or something like that. And I watched a little video about how the book was different. And apparently in the book, because this guy, maybe you haven't seen the movie. Yeah, I don't think I'll go there. If you haven't seen the movie, you got to see the movie. It's a good movie. Highly recommend seeing it. But it is different in the book in one respect. And yeah, if I tell you how it's different, then I'm going to spoil the movie. So I don't want to do that. All right. Where did I go? Signs and wonders. You will eat the fruit of the womb. Okay, yeah, it's 53. Let me just, sorry about this. I have to scroll. This is a long set of verses. All right, 53. Let's 54. Even the most gentle and sensitive man among you will have no compassion on his own brother, or the wife he loves, or his surviving children. And he will not give to one of them any of the flesh of his children that he is eating. It will be all he has left because of the suffering your enemy will inflict on you during the siege of your cities. The most gentle and sensitive woman among you, so sensitive and gentle that she would not venture to touch the ground with the sole of her foot, will begrudge the husband she loves and her own son or daughter, the afterbirth from her womb and the children she bears, for in her dire need she intends to eat them secretly because of the suffering your enemy will inflict on you during the sieges of your cities. Yeah, this is just a horrid, horrid picture of, I mean, when it all falls apart. When it all falls apart. And we say, well, this would never happen, but it's a picture of what anarchy looks like when there's no law. So there's God's law, and then there's other laws that try to keep the peace, and then you go down the hill to finally the bottom, which is anarchy. There's no law, every man and woman for himself. And at that point, if there's no law and you're dying of starvation, you kill your children because they're weaker than you and you eat them. And that is that is the most vivid picture of the way a society can digress into the worst forms of living. And I dare say that there have probably been societies like this. Societies that are so far away from God's law that they live, well, anarchists. I mean, we do movies. I mean, I don't think we do this kind of stuff because Hollywood would never allow it. But if you really think about what it's like to live in a society where there's absolutely no law, every person for themselves, this is kind of what it would look like, and it would be horrible. And I am so grateful that I live in a country and a time where the thought of this is very, very, very far away. But, and because of that, I think we believe that it could never get this way. We live in Western culture. Western culture is shaped and formed by the gospel of Jesus Christ, even though there are a lot of people in Western culture that don't follow Jesus. The culture that was created around him has so much of his teachings embedded in it. But if you go to other nations and other cultures around the world, especially tribal cultures where they've never heard the gospel of Jesus Christ, or the law is basically the elder, and the elder dies, and then people fight because they want the power, and because they fight, the whole society falls apart. And when it falls apart, it's pure anarchy. This is the fourth turning of the fourth turning is a book. Read it. The fourth turning is a cycle every 80 years where it descends to the worst it's going to be. Not necessarily anarchy, but a complete lack of trust of your fellow brothers and sisters in your society. I shudder to think that man could even possibly get to that man could possibly get to this. And yet I know that I've seen man's inhumanity to man. I've read about it, and it is possible. It really is possible. If your life is threatened and you think you're going to die, and the only way to stop death is this, and if you have no hope for a time with Jesus forever in heaven, then this is what you descend to. This is the natural condition of mankind. This is the way of death that's talked about in the Didache, the teachings of the apostles. All right, verse 58. If you do not carefully follow the words of this law, which are written in this book, and do not revere this glorious and awesome name, the Lord your God, the Lord will send fearful plagues on you and your descendants, harsh and prolonged disasters, and severe and lingering illnesses. He will bring on you all the diseases of Egypt that you dreaded, and they will cling to you. The Lord will also bring on you every kind of sickness and disaster not recorded in this book of the law until you're destroyed. You who were as numerous as the stars in the sky will be left but few in number, because you did not obey the Lord your God. Just as it pleased the Lord to make you prosper and increase in number, so it will please him to ruin and destroy you. You will be uprooted from the land you are entering to possess. Not a pretty picture. Here we go. Then the Lord will scatter you among all nations, from one end of the earth to the other. There you will worship other gods, God of wood and stone, which neither you nor your ancestors have known. Among those nations you will find no repose, no resting place for the sole of your foot. There the Lord will give you an anxious mind, eyes weary with longing, and a despairing heart. You will live in constant suspense, filled with dread, both night and day, never sure of your life. In the morning you will say, if only it were evening, and in the evening, if only it were morning, because of the terror that you will fill, that because of the terror that will fill your hearts and the sights that your eyes will see. The Lord will send you back in ships to Egypt on a journey I said you should never make again. There you will offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you. I mean, this is it will be so bad for you. You'll go to Egypt and say, we want to go back into slavery. We had it so much better in slavery than what this is. And they're going to be like, you're feral. No, we could get out of here. You're filled with diseases and sickness. And no. We're closing our gates to you. We're closing our borders to you. Go away. This is the end. This is the end without God. And this is a picture of hell, if you will. It's a picture of what can happen if you do not follow God's law. Basically, this is how bad it gets. Constant suspense in the morning, only it's evening, evening, only it's morning. I think the picture I can, like a defeated lion. Have you ever seen a lion that loses its one of its legs, or maybe it got into a fight with a wildebeest and it's got a horn sticking out of its shoulder, and it lives in fear when it goes to bed. Will I wake up in the morning? Lives in fear during the morning. Will I be able to find something to eat? And it's just a very, very pathetic looking creature that is going to die, and nobody really wants to even be around it. It's just a very, very sad state of affairs. And what happens without God's law is we descend to be just like an animal, wandering aimlessly, filled with sickness and disease, that eats whatever I can find, even if that's part of my progeny. I mean, it's just a horrible picture. And God presents this picture and says, do not do this. I am the Lord your God. Follow me, and none of this happens. And yet, so many of them don't. And the good news is that we were rescued from all this by Jesus. He has given us his law and restated the law, fulfilled the law, restated the law, and given us a way to live our life so that it does not descend into this. And for that, I'm very, very grateful. And even in the midst of anarchy, if it were to come to that, I can still live as a child of the King. And it's amazing how living like Jesus can turn around anarchy on a dime. But Israel does not follow this, and causes the need for Jesus to come. Jesus comes and rescues us. I shudder to think of what it would be like if he hadn't. All right, let's close in prayer. Gracious God, thank you for your Son who rescued us from horrible things. Watch over us this week, this day until we meet again. In His name we pray. Amen. All right. Let me go over here. Thank you, all of you, joining me online. I appreciate it. May you have a blessed day. We will meet tomorrow. And until then, have a great day. Bye.